and did a wonderful job about that. My guy Todd Gurley appeared, and man, it's one of those things. I've never, I can't remember a time where I've seen Todd Gurley speak. Especially if I have, it wasn't that much. And then but when you see this guy speak, you realize, man, he's a damn kid. This dude is a kid. Like it pours out of him. He can't even help it. He's a kid, man. And we talk about this, me especially. I talk about this kid as being this grown man playing against children, and I think that's a fair description of his playing style. But just him as a human being, yeah, man, it was amazing to see this dude just in that element, and just they showed him rehabbing the knee and working on his hands and working on the board as far as identifying defenses and defensive fronts and all that kind of stuff. And he was doing a wonderful job at it. Melvin Gordon working on his hands as well. That dude just, hey, you talking about a kid that's put together. Like, Melvin Gordon is like, yeah, that dude is rocked up, dude. He's ready for prime time. Another unknown kid, running back from North Dakota. I can't remember his name. His nickname is Taz, though, like the Tasmanian Devil. It was a touching moment with him. He felt like he was being kind of snubbed, and he wasn't invited to the combine. And while ESPN was filming, I don't know if they set it up for him or whatever it was, but he got a call, and the call said it was somebody from the NFL combine saying that they overlooked him and they would like to extend the invitation to him. And he went crazy. He was like, "Turn up!" He went ballistic. Called his mom and everything. His mom was freaking out. It was a cool moment, man, to see a kid from that small school in North Dakota. If you don't remember, they've been on College Game Day a couple of times. The Bison, yeah, they won like 4 straight FBS championships. Is it FBS? Subdivision? Whatever. The used to be 1AA when I was playing ball. Yeah, they won like 4 straight championships. This dude ran for like almost 2,000 yards last year, and he's just really looking to get a look. The kid from Ohio State was there as well. And then there was Jameis. Oh, that kid is he's such a beautiful young man. Just like, you can't help but just kind of the smile, because this kid is impervious to anything in his environment. He is absolutely impervious. He's like, he wakes up in the morning. He's like, the first thing he does, he's got a FaceTime with his girlfriend, right? You hear him mumbling like, "Yeah, man, got to talk to my girl and blah, blah, make sure she ain't cheating on me." I'm like, what? What are you talking about? First of all, let's keep it real. You cheated on her, and we all know about it because you admitted to it. In the whole, the sexual assault case, if you want to call it that, I guess that's what would be termed as. Yeah, you admitted to having sex with the young lady, and from what you said on Game Changers yesterday, you and the young lady that you're with have been together since you guys were in middle school, which would mean that unless you were like the Dwayne Wade or like Ross from Friends, like you were on a break, you didn't say none of that though. But good for her. I saw people commenting on that kind of stuff, calling this young lady stupid for staying with him and all that kind of stuff. Like, Rob and I've had this conversation about people and their relationships. Stay your nosy ass out, whatever their situation is, because if you feel like yours is perfect, you're sadly mistaken. Nothing is, especially when you're talking about 2 human beings being involved in something together. Yeah, there's no perfection in it, but you do the best you can. You take your mate's flaws, and the ones that you can accept, you deal with them. And just because his flaw happens to be that, if that's her thing and she want to stay with him and not let that be the thing that that derails her from otherwise being happy with the person she's with, yeah, everyone else, back the hell up. Just slow down and back yourself up. Other thing that happened, as far as Jameis Winston's concerned, before I go any further, because I don't want to run out of time without telling you guys about this. No, I'll go here first. I'll go with the Wonderlic test. Jameis Winston actually scored a 27 on his Wonderlic test, and Marcus Mariota scored a 33. You might be wondering, what the hell does that even mean? It's a 50-question test. You got 12 minutes to take it. And in comparison, His 27 was 1 point worse than guys like Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, and Russell Wilson. It was better than other guys like Jay Cutler, Carson Palmer, Ben Roethlisberger, Cam Newton, and Robert Griffin III. The average score for a quarterback is around 24. So Jameis, as far as his Wonderlic goes, he's right above average. Now, because I'm me, I was like, I need to find out like where the best Wonderlic scores were, and if I have time before the hour's up, I'll make sure I get into that. But Marcus Mariota scored a 33, the same score as Tom Brady, and just 2 points lower than Aaron Rodgers. There it is. You got to draft Mariota. He's gonna win the damn Super Bowl. Wonderlic says it. Not really. Nah, it doesn't. Yeah, he still played exclusively in the shotgun, and he never had to call plays from the huddle. That's like if we don't think that's a big obstacle to get over, like just listen to John Gruden's plays, right? Listen to how much verbiage are in the plays, and to have never done that before, yeah, it's absolutely, when people compare it to learning a different language, it must be, especially it's almost like going from like being an adult who's never spoken. What? Nah, that ain't even right. It's like going from me living in Decatur my whole life, and then somebody just dropping me in this African country where I know nothing about anything anyone's saying, and expecting me to get along just fine from day one. Nah, it's gonna take a process. It's gonna take a long, steady process before this kid is ready to play NFL football. And he's 33 on the Wonderlic. He's obviously not a dum-dum. The active quarterbacks with the highest score and at least one Super Bowl win are actually Eli Manning with a 39. Ben Roethlisberger has a 25. That's the lowest for any active quarterback with a Super Bowl win. If you're worrying about guys who didn't score very well on their Wonderlic and how they turned out, guys like Jim Kelly, Dan Marino, and Terry Bradshaw, 15, 15, and 16 respectively, they all scored under 20. All three guys. Well, sorry. Yeah, all three guys. All three guys are in the Hall of Fame. I had some sample questions here of the what am I trying to call this? The Wonderlic. It's like these crazy type of questions. I'm talking because I'm trying to pull it up to tell you guys what's on this damn test. Things like a paper sells for 21 cents per pad. What will 4 pads cost? How many of the 5 pairs of items below are exact duplicates? And basically, they have different names of people in different versions of them. Like one says Neiman, K.M. The other one says Neiman, Nieman. See, it almost tripped me up. And the other one says Neiman, K.M. So you got to pick the one quickly that looks alike. Quickly, like the word association or word present and reserve. Do these words, 1, have similar meanings, 2, have contradictory meanings, or 3, mean neither the same or opposite? So things like that are the things these guys have to kind of go through mentally in 12 minutes after they may have run a 40 or done their whole workout, or whenever they take the Wonderlic test. Part of it is how you respond, to a time test under the pressure of something like the NFL Combine. I got about 6 minutes here. I want to make sure I get into this Jameis Winston situation. Like, forget about this whole, who had the best Wonderlic scores and all this foolishness. This Jameis Winston article, it's in ESPN the magazine. In I guess today's ESPN the magazine. Good God Almighty, I cannot find it. This doggone article. Basically, it's talking about it. They follow him throughout this entire process, from the time the season's over with, to his training regimen, to the combine, to the pro day, and all this kind of stuff. And some very revealing things within the article. You've heard, if you listen to the podcast, you've heard Rob and I talk about where Jameis Winston's from. Like, Rob went to school in Alabama. I went to school with people from Alabama, and specifically where he's from, the town in Alabama called Bessemer, Bessemer. If you're from Bessemer and I didn't spell it right, forgive me. But the strange part about that is the high school he played for is called Hueytown High School, and like a lot of towns in Alabama. If you ever read Charles Barkley's story about where he's from, it's like when people talk about like the wrong side of the railroad tracks, it's almost like it's a real thing in a lot of towns in Alabama. Whereas Jameis Winston went to he's from Bessemer, but he went to school in Hueytown, and Hueytown is a predominantly white town, basically on the other side of the tracks, and Bessemer is the black side of town, the poorer side of town. And he talked about how he at times felt misunderstood, because, I mean, I don't have to explain to anyone Jameis Winston's personality and how it does, not even how it could, because even right now, it rubs a lot of people, especially a lot of people of Caucasian descent, the wrong way. They look at him as a dude that's very arrogant. He's very full of himself. I just call him impervious. I think he's so comfortable and so at home within himself that he feels like that's just the way to be. You know what I mean? And it's weird to most people because most of us aren't like that. Most of us, we try to look at situations and approach them cautiously. Found the article, by the way. It's by Kurt Streeter of ESPN the magazine. It's called Jameis Winston is on the Clock. It's a long read, but it's a very informative read. If you want to know just a little bit more about Jameis Winston and who he is, he talks about the sexual assault and all those kind of things. The young lady's name was Erica Kinsman, and she's actually pursuing federal charges against Florida State because she feels like her civil rights were violated because the investigation wasn't handled properly. They talked to his dad. Apparently his dad is a cut up as well, so the apple didn't fall far from the trees. He talked about the situation in the lunchroom. He says, quote, "I was with my friends. I was quoting, it was a meme. Like, it's just something people say. And me being wanting the attention, I bursted out, got a bunch of laughs, that's childish, but I did it. I'm going to own that. That was stupid." And I think that's the line of demarcation for me. It's like, because he talks about being demonized, and I talk about him being criminalized as though like he's like when you start talking about him and character issues and start bringing in things like Ray Rice and Aaron Hernandez, like we're going way too high up on the ladder for who this kid is. You know what I mean? If we're in a situation where we believe that people are innocent, presumed innocent, until charges are brought, and once charges are brought, until his case is heard by a jury of his peers, and he's found guilty, we have to presume innocence. But that doesn't seem to be the case when you don't particularly like a person, is the way I look at it. With about 90 seconds here, just wrapping up talking about this Jameis Winston article, and I believe I can pick it up in the next hour as well. I'm not in a huge rush tonight. When I talk about him being impervious, here's another quote from him in the article. "One thing I had to learn," he says, this is a quote, "I can't treat every place like it's Bessemer, Alabama." Yeah, he's a country-ass dude, man. Loud and country, and everybody's my friend until they're not. And it's something that he's had to obviously realize and come to terms with, that this is not that. I'm a different breed than most people are, and some people just aren't going to accept that. I'm slowly but surely starting to just, I'm starting to love this kid as a football player. Just watching him perform, his attitude towards the game, the way he can talk the game, everything lines up for this dude to be great. Coming to the end of hour number 1, I'm Big Mike. This is the Sports Kings podcast, being heard via Spreaker.com. Don't forget Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. You can find us there on all three at Sports Kings Live. You can also email the show, sportskingslive@gmail.com, and you can make monetary donations at GoFundMe.com/Sports Kings Live. Be right back with hour number 2.